G'day folks, I guess we'll call this the first official update for the Kelly and Lewis engine project. Well, first one for a while. As you can see, I've got the block and everything stripped down completely, looking pretty good. It wasn't too hard getting the crankshaft and everything out, just had to get the flywheels off. These housings have to be cleaned up still. Cast in Babbitt bearings show minimal play. They're not too badly worn. I'm not going to have to recast them. It might move around and carry on a bit. The crankshaft will have a little bit of play in it, but I can make up some brass shims for it anyway as far as axial play is concerned. There's two housings, each individually marked for replacement or reinstallation. Just always stake the housings or put some kind of identifying mark on them. It's splash lube, that's a little oil catch hopper. The bottom of the conrod has a little hook shaped slinger on it which sprays oil everywhere, and yeah, it's just basic splash lubrication. The crankshaft is a welded item. They obviously cast the crankshaft itself and then weld these counterweights onto it. You can see a weld line around the inside there. Both of the counterweights are welded on. So that's going to have to be cleaned and polished up as best I can. It's got a fair bit of rust on it. But the good thing is the bottom end of the conrod is shimmed, so I can hand scrape that bearing with the scraper that I've got and make it fit after I've honed this lobe down even 1/1000th of an inch or even 1/1000th of an inch. I can take a shim out afterwards and make it work properly again. So everything's still good. I don't have to send it off for proper rebuild and chroming and other stuff like that. Should be just right. But these counterweights are welded on afterwards. They're crudely cut, fairly rough cast iron weight. But I'm not going to change much on it. I'm just going to clean it up properly and that's it. I'm not going to grind any sharp edges off. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm sure these help with slinging oil onto the camshaft, which is behind it. The camshaft sits about here, so I'm not going to modify any of these edges, even though it does look awfully crude. Well, there's the camshaft anyway. That's the camshaft and the drive sprocket. Teeth are all in good nick, really good nick. There's no excessive wear, there's no chips, there's no missing teeth. Timing marks are still visible, there's one there. These are the bearing ends, which sit on there. There's negligible amount of wear on them. This engine hasn't run that many hours. Like I said before, when I first pulled it apart, I could still see the honing on the inside of the bore where it was protected. Whoever stored it filled the cylinder with engine oil before they stored it, and that's what kept it in such good condition. Otherwise it would have been ruined by now. Bit of wear on that valve lifter there, but I can adjust the rockers accordingly, and the rest of those are just housing bolts for them. Really good. Let's have another look at this block. Okay, this is a Kelly and Lewis KBD, as I would have stated in the description. Still got to clean up the bore a bit. I've honed once briefly just to see what the damage is, and there's no pitting whatsoever. The wall thickness in the water galleries is still good despite the chunks of rust that fell out of it. It's an overhead valve engine, which is pretty rare for the 1940s and 50s. The Kelly and Lewis 3AO was the first version of this. Same block design, just a different cooling system and carburetor, I think. And that was released in 1930 something. I don't know the exact dates because nobody can confirm anything these days. But this is the Kelly and Lewis KBD, which had a different style of magneto and just the general layout of it. There are design traits for this which confirm that it's a KBD, which is a 1950s model. Not quite as old as I was hoping it would be, but it's still a great little engine in itself. It's a vertical single cylinder, water cooled. Camshaft fits through here, those bearing mounts fit through there. The crankshaft end bells are fully removable, as you can see they're all gone. Bore's in good condition. The governor sits out here. The magneto drive is on this side. driven off the camshaft. So you've got a magneto sitting here. You've got the flyweight governor sitting there with the head on. You'll have a carburetor sitting there. That's not too bad. It's a nice little package. Next thing I'm going to do is cut these damaged bolts out. I tried to break them free, but I'm going to cut it down there and just clean up the face and drill and tap the remains of the bolts out. And that should remove any remaining bolts and just clean this up so that I can reattach a fabricated metal water hopper, because this is convection cooled. So there'll be a metal water hopper attached up here, and it will sit up and around the head. It's a bit hard to describe. I'll try and find an image online and attach it to the video, if there even is one. I think I saw an image of one of these a long time ago, and that's about it. But there's a tiny bit of muck in the bottom of the crankcase, but I've cleaned, wire wheeled, and just blasted this thing with everything I've got, and it's slowly coming good. So I hope you enjoy this video, and stay tuned for more on this project. I'm just going to clean it up, hit it with a coat of etch primer around the outer surfaces, stone these back with a flat grinding stone, and just leave it as it is until I get around to attaching ancillaries. I'll clean up the end bell housings, clean these up, get the crankshaft and internals all done and in, then I'll hit it with a coat of green. I'll try and find a green paint that matches that, because that's the original factory colour. It also had gloss black flywheels on it. They didn't run the belts off the flywheels, they ran the belt off that. That was the original pulley, which took quite a bit of effort to get off. It's very hard to get that off. So pulleys or flywheels are going to be gloss black. That will be just resurfaced and cleaned up as raw cast iron, and the flat belt will run off that. I'll probably run a pump or something off it. I'll try and find an old piston pump, like a early Kelly and Lewis piston pump or centrifugal pump.